going to take it home now. This presentation is rated R by every HR department you've been a part of. These are my personal views. If you're easily offended or uptight, the bar's still open. Go have another drink. Because I'm going to talk about HR conferences. We go looking for that one great idea that justifies the expense of us going to the conference. And we go to a bunch of them and we realize there aren't a whole lot of new ideas. There's not a lot of innovation, and I think I figured out the problem. HR needs more sex. More specifically, idea sex. Ideas don't come out of nowhere. There are two ideas getting together and procreating and having baby ideas. So birth follows conception and conception follows sex. So to innovate in HR, we need more idea sex. So call this your idea sex education. I'm going to tell you what it is, give you a couple examples of HR idea sex, and then I'm going to give you some guidelines so you can go out tonight and have HR idea sex. Idea sex is a term coined by this guy named James Altucher, and he gives the example of Sam Weston, who knew that girls liked dolls and boys liked action, so he had idea sex and came up with G.I. Joe. That's idea sex. So let's apply it to recruiting. In recruiting, I already did this tonight with making recruiting part of your sales team. But recruiting, you have to find candidates, and that's hard. At the same time, there's this whole other universe of designers out there with companies like Design Crowd and Elance and 99 Designs. So what if, or on these, what happens is you give them your specs and they come back with a logo and you only pay for the one you choose. So what if you put your candidate profile out there in the world to a bunch of freelance recruiters and they crowdsourced your candidates for you. And then they came back to you and you said, all right, I'm going to pick that candidate, and that's the one that you end up paying for. That's an example of idea sex there. Now, everybody has seen an ugly baby. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm not there yet. Job ad. This is not a job ad. I'll get to the ugly babies. This is not a job ad because you're not sending this out to the candidates. You're sending this out to freelance recruiters so that they can bring you the candidates. So that's how it's different. Here's the ugly babies. All right, now you've all seen an ugly baby. This could be a really ugly baby. Employee relations and legal usually tell us our babies are ugly. But you never know which babies are going to grow into beautiful children. So you have to have lots of idea sex and babies and beautiful children. This is Ellie. She's an artificially intelligent psychologist used by the US military to diagnose PTSD. What if you mixed this with your employee relations department and you had something like Ellie talk to your employees about their complaints so that she could gather all the data about the investigation or about the complaint and determine if there needed to be an investigation. And based on the results that the military has had with Ellie, your employees are more likely to be truthful with an artificially intelligent being than with a person. Now, this technology is really far off, but you can see where I'm going with the idea sex piece here. I'm just trying to give you some examples. But now I want to give you permission to go out and have idea sex. But before you do that, there are 5 guidelines that you need to follow to have great idea sex. Guideline number 1. You have to have a lot of it. Ideas are like rabbits. The more you start with, the more you end up with. So start writing down a lot of ideas every single day. Even if they're terrible, just write them down. They'll get better over time. Guideline 2, don't go solo. It's fun to stay at home with your ideas, but you can't have idea sex if you're staying at home. You have to get out and meet other ideas. However, guideline number 3, avoid incest. You have to get outside your normal group of people because if you stay in the same group of people and have idea sex, your ideas start to look like their parents in a real sort of backwoods deliverance kind of way. And once you've got a new group of people, be promiscuous. Have as many idea sex partners as possible. This is how you're going to come up with beautiful baby ideas. And the last one, guideline number 5, don't use protection. You can't have a baby if you use birth control. Don't say we can't do it or legal won't go for it. Just have as many ideas as you possible, have as many babies as possible, and figure out who's going to adopt them later. So I've given you the guidelines. You're in a target-rich environment. You're looking for the future of HR. Don't let us tell you what it is. Go out, have idea sex, and conceive it. Good night.